A couple of best practices I want to leave you with. If you're receiving email, so if you're a mailbox provider, please refuse connections from known spammers. So low-hanging fruit is just checking whether forward and reverse DNS matches. If you're running a mail server in 2019 and your forward and reverse DNS don't match, you should not deserve your email being received by anyone. Check Spamhaus or other reliable block lists. Spamhaus is the most reliable in my experience. Spam Meeting Monkey and Barracuda are also very good. If you're even the slightest bit suspicious of a client, just graylist them, temp fail them, and have them try again. And you also want to operate a local blacklist, especially if you have languages that are not English. Just operate a local blacklist for things that look spammy. And rate limit clients, right? We notice on freebsd.org that we sometimes see email coming in with one client, we reject this, we drop his connection immediately, and he tries again several milliseconds later. And we just keep seeing that over and over and over again. Just rate limit them. If you're sending us more than 10 connections per minute, that's not legitimate email. Just firewall them and rate limit them that way. And also please check SPF and DKIM for legitimate senders. If you're sending email, don't send spam, right? Best practice, don't send spam. If you must send spam, don't send it to us. Also ensure that your forward and reverse DNS match. Again, if it doesn't match, you don't deserve having your email received. Always send from the same IP addresses. This helps real-time block lists. If you have run a cluster of mail servers and you're just going to cycle through them, in the world of gray listing, your message is never ever going to arrive because we're just going to keep temp failing you from each different machine. It'll take several hours before you get through, and by then the message is possibly irrelevant. Install an SPF policy for your domain. Several receivers check it. Just put in the DNS which of your machines sends email. That's an easy and cheap check for receivers to do. If possible, sign all outbound email with DKIM. Of course, you have no control over which servers people use for sending their email, but email that does go through your relays, sign it, and that'll get you some points on spam filters receiving your email. And if practical, install a DMARC policy. I had a couple of slides on DMARC, but I'm already 10 minutes over time. So I'm not going to talk about DMARC much, but just read it up. It's if practical, install a policy. If not practical, DKIM and SPF will do. Some references, rspamd is very well documented. You can install it on FreeBSD and probably on other operating systems too. I have never tried. And if you are running a mail server, you want to join the mail-op mailing list. Well, if you're running a non-trivial mail setup, you want to join the mail-op mailing list, which is where senders and receivers of email often have heated discussions on the best way to deal with email, both sending and receiving. Are there any questions? Other than please translate your talk into Mongolian so that we can understand you. I think that was Mongolian for any questions.
No. Thank you. Thank you, Philip, so much.
It was Mongolian for go away. Thank you very much.
All right, now our last speaker for the technical session is Kams Yeung from Akamai. He'll talk about Akamai, CDN, and peering and trends. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Kams. I'm one of the network architect in Akamai. So I know that I'm before the break time, so I hope that I could finish that on time. Oh, kicker. Where's the receiver? Oh, sorry. Yeah, so today I'm going to talk about a few things. So a little bit about Akamai, in case you don't know. The Akamai CDN technology in a very simplified way. The Akamai deployment in Mongolia, and also some of the traffic trend that we observe from Akamai's perspective. Yeah, so Akamai, I think most of you know that Akamai is a CDN, but we actually do more than CDN, like security, etc. I'm not going through all this slide. So basically, we have a distributed platform, consists of more than 239,000 servers. It's quite distributed, so it's all located in 3,900 locations, that means data centers. And we are within 1,600 networks. So in Mongolia, we also have a lot of cache server deployed here. And we cover 1,300 cities and 130 countries. We are doing, the last data set we have, we are doing over 7 terabit per second traffic during an event peak. Sorry. Yeah, so this is a snapshot of our traffic, so you can actually go download the app or go to our website to check that. Yeah, so a brief introduction about CDN first before I go to Akamai CDN. So they are basically, CDN is a network that delivers the content. So a lot of content, they are using CDN, and there are two main ways of delivering the content through CDN. One is Anycast. I think you probably know that, like, let's say Calframe, they are using Anycast. The other one is DNS-based. I think Jeff mentioned that Akamai is one of the CDN that we use DNS. So both, of course, have their advantages and disadvantages. I'm not going to compare them, but just to let you know how Akamai, as a DNS-based CDN, how do we do the mapping? So what we do is we base on the DNS query, the IP address, and then we resolve to the optimal server. So you see, in this example, I'm assuming that a user in Mongolia and a user in Hong Kong, they look up the same host name. Of course, www.akamai.com is on our own CDN. So you see that they CNAME into the same host name, and then but the NIP address is different. So if you're in Mongolia, you resolve to 60.254.171.259, versus if you are in Hong Kong, then you resolve to another IP address, 173.223.83.236. So we resolve to a different server or different cluster because based on the different DNS query that we get. Yeah. So how do we, the magic part is how do we actually know, because server cluster we should assign to the end user. So when a content is request from our Akamai, so we have to check a lot of things. So number one is content availability. So if you're requesting a content that is not within that cluster, then we can assign the cluster IP address to you. So one of the examples like HTTP and HTTPS are on different cluster, where they are different content type. And we also check the latency and packet loss to the network, so to see whether which cluster has the best latency. So let's say if you are a Mongolia user, if we check the cluster, Mongolia cluster to a Mongolia user definitely faster than a Hong Kong cluster to a Mongolia user. So we more prefer Mongolia cluster. And each cluster, although let's say you have an Akamai cluster, but why it's not serving from the Akamai cluster? So the cluster also have its limitation. So it could be CPU, memory, hard disk. So when it is full, then we also cannot serve the content. And of course, the last one is network utilization. So if we have certain bandwidth with you and this traffic is over the bandwidth, then we can send traffic also. Yeah, so this is a simplified example on how do we do DNS-based mapping. So number one, the first step is the end user on their computer or on their browser on a mobile, they request an Akamai content. So let's say in this case, I'm assuming like www.example.com is then Akamai does content. So the user, the first step is ask the local DNS server. So the good thing is Mongolia user are 91% are using your local ISP DNS. So that's good. So you go to your own ISP DNS, and then the ISP will ask, hey, where's www.example.com? So we have to go through a lot of recursive lookup, go to your doc.com, and then go to the authoritative DNS, because it is using Akamai. So the authoritative DNS of example.com will CNAME it to an Akamai hostname that we assign to them. So in this case, we assign with a212.g.akamai.net back to the ISP DNS. Now, the ISP DNS have to do the recursive lookup again, but this time it is an Akamai hostname because it ends with akamai.net. So the query will go to, of course, go through the recursive lookup, and then finally we go to an Akamai DNS server because it's Akamai.net. So the Akamai.net will check, oh, this is a request from this DNS server, the ISP DNS server 1.2.3.4, and they'll say, okay. And then they are requesting a specific host name, which is a212.g.akamai.net. Then our mapping system will think about, okay, for this content, oh, I have a local cluster, and this DNS have a good latency to them, and our cluster is full, we have capacity to serve. So in this case, then we assign a local cluster IP address like 5.6.7.8 back to the ISP, and ISP will finally give the answer 5.6.7.8 back to the end user. And the end user browser will make a request to the Akamai cluster. So this is the DNS lookup and then the HTTP request. So finally, the user will be downloading the content from the local cluster. So this is assuming that the user using a local DNS, our cluster have the capacity to serve the end user. Of course, this is most of the case. Yeah, so this is, and then the next, we talk about the Akamai deployment in Mongolia. This is a simplified view because I'm not able to disclose the details. But you can see that primarily what we deploy is we deploy within the ISP in Mongolia. I think that most of the major ISP that we already have a cache server. In today, our deployment is mainly in the capital city in Ulaanbaatar. Hopefully, when the traffic is growing, then we could deploy in other tier 2 cities. We are doing like 80% content within Mongolia. So there's a chance that if you request a content from Akamai, it's not delivered locally because we are not able to cover all the content at this stage. And if you are not, then the traffic will overflow to Hong Kong mainly. So because Hong Kong, from a latency and bandwidth point of view, is closer to Mongolia. So if we can't serve the traffic locally, then you mainly overflow to Hong Kong. Yeah. So next is, we don't have an IX, we don't connect to an IX in Mongolia yet, hopefully in future. But let's say if you have a overseas node and you connect to an IX outside Mongolia, we are very happy to peer with you. And that is why we do a lot of peering, not only the local cluster, because for a few reasons. So number one is that it improves the performance. So if you're being overflow, not serving from the cluster, we want to serve it directly to you. So a IX or peering, PNI, will have a direct connectivity, that is better performance. We have a better throughput because usually the direct peering will have less packet loss. And we have also reduced the redundancy. We also increased the redundancy that we have because not only relying on the cluster. So as many peering that we want, we would set up more redundancy. And next is burstability. What I mean is during an event burst, even your cluster have a lot of capacity, you have a lot of bandwidth in the cluster, but in an event, the traffic could surge very high, like 10 times or so. Let's say a new game download or a new OS update, etc. Yeah, and of course, if you have a direct peering, then it reduces the cost, the potential transit provider cost within us, so it's reduced the cost. And we also help us to map the traffic. So if we collect the prefix, then our mapping system have more path to calculate which node is better. And of course, I mentioned before, even you have an Akamai cluster, I also encourage you to set up peering with us. Because ultimately, I think from a content provider point of view, not only Akamai, but also, let's say, Facebook, Netflix, etc., Google. So the ultimate goal of a CDN is to send traffic in the most effective way to the end user. And to the ISP point of view, you guys want to have the best performance for serving your end user. So we are kind of in the same business. You want a faster internet for your end user. I want a faster internet for my content owner. So that's why we actually have to cooperate together. So if you have any questions, comment about Akamai, we can talk about offline later during the break or social. And I mentioned about that before with cost reduction. So the next thing you have to aware is even you are peering of Akamai, it doesn't mean that you get all the Akamai content because, as I mentioned before, all the clusters have different content. Yeah, because there's some content only within a specific cluster, or sometimes we prefer on-net cluster than the peering. So it depends on a few things that if you are peering with us and you don't see the traffic, just contact us and then we'll check for you. Yes, the last part. So this is a report that the trend, yeah. So Akamai, we collect a lot of data because we have a lot of users requesting content from us. So we have a fair view of how the internet topologies look like. So we have a portal website called State of the Internet, SOT. So if you go to the website, this one, stateoftheinternet.com, and there's a lot of data, not only IPv6, it's also about like DDoS attack and about other things. So one of the things I want to highlight here is the IPv6 that we observe, especially in Mongolia. So this is the data that we have. I think I collected like last week or so. So this is the, we collect all the IPv6 requests so we can have a view on the IPv6 adoption per country and per network. So this is the ranking per country. So India is like number 2 now. And the other side is also the network. So you see that a lot of US providers, they are in a very high IPv6 adoption rate. You can just go to the website, and I think the data for V6 is quite real time. And then we produce a map about the IPv6 adoption. So if you go to the website, and then you can have a mouse over, and then you can see the percentage. So I want to highlight the traffic that we observe. Next. Yeah, so this is I'm just focusing on the East Asia because like Mongolia is one of them. And then we will see the adoption. This is the data that I just collect this morning. So you will see that in the East Asia, I think Taiwan have the highest IPv6 adoption rate. I was told that's because of the regulator. And Japan, the same thing, that the government have a lot of push on the V6. So Taiwan and Japan have a lot of V6 adoption rate, like 35 and 30. Of course, I think that they will be still keep growing because, for example, Japan, Docomo haven't been enabled V6 yet, and Taiwan still have a lot of few of the mobile operator haven't enabled V6. But we anticipate that they will be gradually keep growing, and then you see South Korea is like 3.5, not that impressive because they always say they have enough V4. And China, I think is if you see the growth recently, it's actually growth a lot. I think at the beginning of this year it's like 0 point something, but then at this moment this is like 11%. And Macau is also quite high, like 9.6. Hong Kong, where the country I'm from, is not that high yet, but actually they do support V6, but just not in a automatic way. So you can actually call their hotline or go to their web portal, and then they can enable V6 for you. So it's not something that automatically. And yeah, and then you see North Korea, sorry, forget it. And then you see Mongolia, sorry, that Mongolia is not that high yet, but we'll zoom into that. So this is the trend of the observation that we have for Mongolia IPv6. So this is like from 2019, from January all the way up to now. So it's not very high yet. But it's not only, but I mentioned before, the SOT is only Akamai measurement. So I try to compare with other measurement. So we do have Google and APNIC. They also measure IPv6 per country. So you see that Google have 0.01% and APNIC have 0.02%. So of course, in Akamai, we do work with a lot of ISP to encourage them to support V6. So some of them saying that they are not ready. I hope that will be soon. Some say that their backbone are ready, but that the end user not yet. So yeah, so we are hopefully we could here could see some data, and then hopefully you guys could work better on the V6. Yes. So that's all my presentation. I hope I fit into the time. So I just have a summary. So Akamai platform is a highly distributed server. So we have, in Mongolia, we have deployed cache server in a lot of major ISP. We encourage you to set up peering with us, of course, include V6 peering. And the V6 in Mongolia we observe is not that high yet, but hopefully that you guys could improve that, because you guys are the network operators, so I really rely on you guys. And if you have the V6 enabled on your backbone or transit peering link, hopefully you could extend that to your end user, because ultimately the traffic are sent to your end user. So if your end user don't have V6, then you are not going to have much V6 traffic. So if you want to contact me, any questions, comment about Akamai, this is my email address. And if you want to peer with us, go to PeeringDB. If you want to see the report, go to our stateoftheinternet.com. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. 쏠까요? 자.
Okay, I have one question.
Yep.
How long time Akamai cache DNS records? Because we have been encountered the issue when our customer changed the DNS records. Akamai is still holding all the wrong DNS records, but even our DNS records has been already propagated all around the world, but still Akamai is still holding wrong DNS records. It's a complicated issue. How long time Akamai cache?
So I may not completely understand your question. Do you mean the Akamai is giving you a wrong IP address? Or?
Yes, DNS records, yeah.
So you are trying to access a specific Akamai content, and then it gives you, let's say, I don't know.
So how long time Akamai to cache DNS record?
How long we cache?
Yes.
Oh, so if you go back a little bit, so the cache would not be long. So yes, the DNS queue is only 20 seconds here. So unless your DNS server override the TTL, otherwise the TTL is usually only 20 seconds. So what I mean is, let's say if the cursor go down within 20 seconds, then you should get a new IP address. So if you got any problem with your connection with a certain IP address, if the server has any issue, then we should give you another IP address within 20 seconds. So this is the TTL. It shouldn't be like giving you a inaccessible IP address for a long time, unless like someone changed the TTL. Someone changed the TTL of the DNS by default. Someone, yeah.
Just 20 seconds, yeah?
Yeah, just for the DNS TTL, it's 20 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah. The content?
Yeah.
Oh, the content, this is a common question, but how long the content will stay in the cache is really depends on the content popularity and also like the cluster storage size. So usually it could be last, I can't tell you the exact detail, but different clusters have different what we call the eviction age. So it could be like usually a few days, I would say, but depend on the popularity of the content. If the content is not that popular, then it will be like purged maybe let's say a few hours later. But if the content is very popular, that means a lot of user access. That content usually will stay longer, let's say for a few days or a week or so. Because the caching mechanism is we're trying to make the popular content stay longer. If the content is not popular, then we will purge it first. So it's not like first in, first out. It's more like depend on the popularity of the content.
How about if the content is updated quite frequently?
Oh, then the content owner could set the cache expire. Let's say if I own a, let's say, I don't know, let's say I own a content and then I expect the content to change very frequently, then you can actually instruct the Akamai cache server to explicitly only cache it for a few hours, or don't cache it, or yeah, you can have a setting. I mean, but this is a setting from the content owner, not from the end user, because the content owner will produce the content, so they know how long the cache should last. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kams. Oh, thank you so much. Yep. Please hold on the stage, and I would like to invite all the speakers from today's technical session 1 and 2 to the stage for a group photo. Tashi, come to the stage. Philip Smith, Philip Pips, and Ulsa, Martea, all. Yeah. And also our chairs, Pasca, Tukso. Who else? Herbie, yeah. Thank you so much. Now it's time for a tea break, and we're running a little late, so let's get back to here at 4 p.m. За 4 хүртэл цайны завсарлага болсон байгаа шүү залуусаа. За завсарлагынхаа үеэр тэгээд хоорондоо сайхан networking хийгээд яваад байгаарэ.